Welcome back. Segment number 3. I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster here in the Llano Lakes with Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets. If you want to know about the Marble Falls Mustangs, please go to segment 1. That's where we preview this week's home game against the Brownwood Lions. And then segment number 2 was all about the Barnet Bulldogs visiting the Llano Yellow Jackets. We're going to end this week's segment talking about the six-man teams who are trying to bounce back. Both teams got mercy ruled on Friday at home. Faith Academy lost to St. Stephen's 66-20 in a game that ended late in the third quarter. They are at home against McDade, a UIL member school, and that is a 7 o'clock kickoff at Britton Field. Meanwhile, Smoking for Jesus lost to Cherokee 59-14. They are on the road at Austin Veritas this week.
Those are both very good teams. Cherokee, located between Llano and San Saba, and 3-time state champion six-man in the 70s. Cherokee's got a good team. In St. Stephen's, I can't imagine how much bigger school St. Stephen's is than Faith Academy. I drive by it quite a bit, and so I think that's a factor there.
Yeah, I actually got to see the Faith game on Friday night and went back through my stats like I always do, trying to look at explosives, trying to look at how drives ended. So St. Stephen's scored 8 touchdowns. They had 1 interception and had 1 turnover on downs. Faith Academy threw 4 interceptions in that game, had 2 turnovers on down, gave up a safety, and then had the ball to end the first half. The game actually ended when the Spartans returned an interception for a touchdown, and that proved to be the 45. That's what triggered the 45-point margin to end the game.
Can I get in one of my little needles? Cut me off if I go too long. I don't like the mercy rule. Here's what I think they should do. You get ahead by 45 points. You're on the honor system to put in your subs, because if you're up by 38 or 39 when you would put in your subs, this way, with the mercy rule, you keep the first stringers in and you get on the bus quicker. That, I think, is what the coach is thinking. That's what I don't like. Both teams could put in their subs on the honor system, as I say. Then, if the team down by 45 gets to within 31, you can put the first team back in. Okay.
All right. Faith Academy's 4 interceptions were turned into 4 touchdowns. After Faith Academy gave up the safety on the ensuing punt, right? That's what I call it.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, on the ensuing punt,
Okay.
St. Stephen's went down and scored on that possession as well, scored a touchdown on that possession. The explosives were a killer for Faith, meaning where the Spartans absolutely feasted were the explosive plays. They scored about 3 or 4 touchdowns on the skinny post. And in 6-man football, that was new for me. That was very, very new for me. So, in that sense, it'll be interesting to see what Faith Academy does. I agree with this guy in the mercy rule and all of that. I will say, though, in fairness, St. Stephen's had a roster of 38 players. That rivals a lot of the rosters that I see.
38?
38.
My goodness.
For a 6-man team, that rivals a lot of the 11-man rosters in
I'm
the
sure.
Llano Lakes.
I'm sure that's as big as Llano suits us.
Yes.
For sure.
And Stephen Shipley suited up 19. So a lot of his Faith players played both sides of the ball, or they took one play off, got a drink of water, and then went right back in.
Boy, that proves my point about being able to put the subs in with the 45-point lead if you don't have the mercy rule. I want to say one thing, too, that she mentioned. I've listened to Brad Sham ever since I got here in 1998. Love the guy. And Babe Laufenberg and Christy Scales on the Dallas Cowboys Network. And Brad Sham has mentioned skinny post about 103 times since 1998. And you know what? I still don't know what it is. I know where the post is, but I don't know where the skinny comes in.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let me explain that.
Good.
I call it a fly route. So basically, the quarterback drops back and he throws a long pass to the middle of the field where the receiver coming out of his break he goes right to that spot and runs right to the middle, catches the ball in stride, and goes all the way in for the touchdown.
So the receiver has no intention of staying on the sideline.
No.
He's coming in. I got it.
That to me is a traditional fly route
on
the sideline. No, this is you throw the ball to the middle and the wide receiver is there to make the catch in stride. The quarterback typically throws to a spot and just trust that the receiver is going to be there.
He certainly better be there, and the safety better not be there as far as the quarterback is concerned.
Sure, and there's something that they read, because as you know, most quarterbacks, when they step up to the line of scrimmage, what is the first defensive position they're checking? The safeties.
Okay.
They're always checking the safeties first. So that is a little bit of 101 football. The skinny post is, you hear that in 11-man, you see it in 11-man a lot. I was surprised to see it in 6-man. There was something in that defense that triggered St. Stephen's, and of course, they had some great speed. It's very, very difficult to simulate some of the speed that I saw on the St. Stephen's roster for the Faith Academy Flames during practices, and that's just fair too. The Smoking for Jesus team, I have to say, I do think they were, I don't want to say shocked, surprised, but those are probably the two words that come to me first. And after talking to Charles Frazier, you know, every team loses. You and I have done this a long time. I've
done everything a long time.
I've been fortunate to cover some teams that have gone undefeated in seasons, but at some point those streaks end, right? So what struck me about the Smoking for Jesus write-up, and when I talked to Charles Frazier, the head coach, in his mind, it was not so much that they got overmanned by Cherokee. He left me with the impression that Cherokee had this game circled on their schedule. Smoking for Jesus went to Cherokee and won in Cherokee last year. So when they got to Burnet to play the Eagles, they remembered that game from 2021. In my mind, it was more important to Cherokee to make a statement and win that game. I also will say this for Charles Frazier, because he really challenged his players. And his challenge to them was that this was more about them being mentally ready to go and less about them being physically able to perform and execute the schemes on both sides of the ball. There's no question, Coach Frazier has bulked up his schedule on purpose. They are playing teams that are very well coached, very well conditioned, have great facilities, and have players who also take a lot of pride in how they play. So the Eagles are challenged now to mentally prepare for teams that might be equal to them, whereas in years past, in playing in a different association, they may not have had to be quite as mentally prepared as they are now.
I think you should come into a game, I said this earlier segment or two ago, or 10 years or so ago, when you're just playing 10, 12, or 16 games, if you're a state champion or get to the state finals, you should be ready each week. It's not as if they're playing 3 basketball games a week like they do in the NBA and 3 hockey games and all that, and all the games they play in baseball. When it's just once a week, and especially the opener, I don't care who you're playing. If you're playing a bad team that you think is bad, good. Run up a big score. If you're playing a great team like Cherokee, then by golly, show that you can beat them 2 years in a row.
Sure, and I will say a great example of what he just said was the Conley Marble Falls game. Okay, somebody asked me, what does it say about Marble Falls that they're able to win by so much? And I said, I wouldn't focus on that. What I would focus on instead is that Conley learned a lot about itself during that game that I believe will help the Cougars moving forward. And that contest to me was more about the Cougars than the Mustangs.
Well, that's a tough lesson, I would say, for the Cougars. Absolutely.
You bet.
An ugly week, I would imagine. This is going into their next game.
Right. Okay. So, again, Smoking for Jesus is at Austin Veritas on Friday night. McDade is visiting the Faith Academy Flames. That is a 7 o'clock kickoff also on Friday. Do you want to talk a little baseball here in the last couple minutes we have?
All right, I'll do it quickly. Aaron Judge of the Yankees, of course, hit his 50th home run of the season last night. 110 RBIs, both way out. RBI is only a 4 RBI lead in the American League, but the home run title has been clinched by Judge. You just won. They did not pitch to him twice. They walked him. They tried to pitch to him late in the game, and he hits the ball a mile. Just an outstanding season. I love this stat. He's hit 50 home runs. It's August 30th. Through August 31st of 1927, when Babe Ruth hit 60 for the season, he had hit 43 by the end of August. So Judge is 7 home runs ahead. Ruth, of course, hit 17 in September. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run last night, the most valuable player in the American League last year, of the Angels. The Angels won that game, by the way, 4-3. Shohei hit a 2-run homer. That's 29 homers this season for the pitcher and this designated hitter, something that is just amazing already in the annals of baseball. So the Yankees are 7-up in the American League East, even though they've played horribly. They had 3 hits in 2 games Saturday, Sunday in Oakland against the last place Athletics. Cleveland and Minnesota battling it out right now in the American League Central. And in the American League West, the Houston Astros have run away with that division. It's another division championship coming for Dusty Baker, who's not much younger than I am, but he has won a ton of division titles, but no World Series as a manager. In the National League, the Mets are a couple of games ahead of Atlanta. St. Louis with Paul Goldschmidt as almost the cinch MVP in the NL, and Albert Pujols still hitting home runs. The Cardinals lead by, I think, 6 games there in the Central. And in the NL West, the Dodgers are only 19 and a half games in front as they cruise to another division championship. So that's pretty much a quickie look at what's going on in the majors.
Okay. For Art Dlugach, I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster. Please go to TexasChalkTalk.com for your Highland Lake sports news. And please like, subscribe, and share the channel.